Long ago, in a wide land of tall trees and red soil, there was a small village called Kijani. The people of Kijani were farmers and hunters. They worked hard every day under the hot sun. They planted maize and millet. They raised goats and chickens. They lived simple lives. But their happiness did not last. A powerful ruler, named Chief Baraka, controlled the land. At first, he was kind, but as the years passed, his heart changed. He became greedy. He wanted more gold, more food, and more power. He sent his soldiers to collect heavy taxes from the villagers. If a family had 10 bags of grain, the soldiers took 7. If a man had 3 goats, they took 2. If someone refused, they were punished. The people were afraid. They worked harder, but they remained poor. In that same village lived a young man named Robin Hood. Robin was not rich. He was the son of a hunter who had died many years before. His mother raised him with love and strong values. She always told him, "A good man must stand for what is right, even if he stands alone." Robin listened. He grew tall and strong. He learned how to move quietly in the forest. He could shoot an arrow straight into a mango hanging from the tallest tree. He respected the elders. He helped the weak. The children liked him because he was kind. One year, the rains failed. The crops dried in the fields. Hunger spread across the land. Still, Chief Baraka demanded his taxes. Robin watched his soldiers enter homes and took the last bags of grain from crying families. One day, they even took food from an old widow who had nothing left. That night, Robin sat alone under a big baobab tree. He looked at the moon and thought about his mother's words. A good man must stand for what is right. Something burned inside his heart. The next morning, Robin disappeared into the forest. For days, people did not see him. Some thought he had run away. But Robin was planning. He knew the forest better than anyone. He knew every hidden path and every narrow road. He knew where the chief's soldiers passed when they carried food and gold to palace. Soon, a strange thing began to happen. When soldiers traveled through the forest with bags of grain, they would hear a whistle in the trees. Then an arrow would land in front of them. Before they could react, men wearing green leaves would appear from nowhere. It was Robin and a small group of brave young villagers who had joined him. They did not harm anyone. They only took back what had been stolen. At night, food would quietly appear at the doors of poor families. Goats would return to their owners. Coins would be left beside sleeping children. The people began to whisper a name. Robin Hood. They said he moved like the wind. They said the forest protected him. They said he was a hero sent to save them. Chief Baraka was angry. He offered a large reward for anyone who could capture Robin Hood. He sent more soldiers into the forest. But the forest was Robin's home. When soldiers chased him, they got lost. When they tried to trap him, he escaped through secret paths. Sometimes, he would even leave a small carved wooden arrow outside the palace gates as a sign that he was not afraid. The people's hope began to grow. One day, something unexpected happened. Chief Baraka's daughter, Princess Zola, heard the stories of Robin Hood. Unlike her father, she had a gentle heart. She often walked among the villagers in secret to see how they lived. She saw their empty farms. She heard their cries. She knew the stories were true. One afternoon, while riding near the forest, her horse stumbled and ran off. She found herself alone, deep in the trees. Suddenly, she heard footsteps. Robin stepped out from behind a tree. Princess Zola was frightened at first, but Robin did not point his bow at her. Instead, he helped her stand and gave her water. "Why do you steal from my father?" she asked. Robin looked at her calmly. "I do not steal," he said. "I return what belongs to the people." She looked into his eyes and saw no hatred, only sadness. Robin guided her safely out of the forest. Before leaving, she turned to him and said, "You are not what my father says you are." From that day, Princess Zola began to speak to her father about justice. At first, Chief Baraka refused to listen, but things were changing. The villagers were no longer afraid. They spoke with courage. Traders avoided the land because of the trouble. Even some soldiers began to question their orders. The chief realized that fear could not control people forever. One morning, the drums of the village sounded loudly. Everyone gathered in the main square. Chief Baraka stood before them. He announced that taxes would be reduced. Land taken unfairly would be returned. The soldiers would no longer take food from hungry families. The crowd was silent at first. Then slowly, hope filled the air. Robin watched from the edge of the forest. He did not step forward. He did not ask for praise. He only smiled. His mission was never about fame. It was about justice. As time passed, peace slowly returned to Kijani. Farms grew green again. Children laughed freely. The market became full of life. Robin and his friends remained in the forest for some time, making sure the chief kept his promise. When they were sure the land was safe, they quietly returned to their normal lives. Some say Robin became a simple farmer. Some say he traveled to other lands to help more people. Some say he still lives in the forest, watching over the weak. But in Kijani, parents still tell their children this story at night. When leaders forget the people, heroes rise from among them. And whenever the wind blows through the tall trees, the villagers smile and say, "That is Robin Hood, the hero of the land." Years passed, and Robin Hood returned to the village quietly, just as he had promised himself he would. He built a small hut near his late father's land and began to farm like any other man. Every morning before sunrise, he walked into his field with a hoe on his shoulder. He planted maize and beans. He cleared weeds. He repaired broken fences. His hands became rough from honest work. To strangers, he was only a simple farmer. But the people of Kijani knew the truth. Robin kept his old bow hanging above his doorway. It gathered a little dust, but it was never forgotten. It was not there to bring fear. It was there to remind him that freedom must always be protected. Even though peace had returned, Robin never stopped watching over the weak. If an old man struggled to carry firewood, Robin appeared and lifted the heavy load without being asked. If a widow's roof began to leak during the rainy season, he climbed up and fixed it before the storm grew stronger. When young boys argued and fought, he called them aside and taught them patience and respect. He also listened carefully in the marketplace. If he heard whispers of unfair taxes or corrupt leaders rising again, he spoke wisely in village meetings. He did not shout. He did not threaten. His calm voice carried more power than arrows ever could. People respected him not because they feared him, but because they trusted him. At night, children gathered around the village fire and begged him to tell stories of the forest days. Sometimes he shared small lessons, but he never boasted. He always ended with the same words. Courage is not in fighting. Courage is in protecting. As he grew older, his hair turned gray, but his spirit stayed strong. He trained the young men and women of the village to be brave, kind, and fair. He taught them how to use a bow, but more importantly, he taught them how to use wisdom. And so, Robin Hood lived the rest of his life not as a man hiding in the forest, but as a guardian in the open light. He proved that a true hero does not only rise in times of trouble. A true hero stays, works, watches, and stands firm even when the land is peaceful. And long after his footsteps faded from the red soil of Kijani, his legacy remained. Because Robin Hood was not just a hero of the forest. He was a hero of the land.